In 2009, Coss Marte was sent to jail as the ringleader of a multi-million-dollar cocaine operation. He was grossly overweight and warned by his physician that his current lifestyle, if left unchecked, would likely kill him. Today, Coss has turned his life around and in the process has built ConBody, a prison-style bootcamp that has over 6,000 clients. During this week's show, you're going to hear how he went from a jail sentence to becoming a successful fitness business owner.
Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast, your free weekly resource to make you a better fitness business leader. I'm JT, the boss of Active Management, and I'm pumped with the rest of the Active Management team to be the premier sponsor again in 2017. Doing this helps us achieve our why in business, which is to reduce the healthcare costs across the globe, so we love supporting it. Between you and us, we can get more people moving and more often. So let's get our hustle mode on. No matter where you are listening in the world, make sure you check out www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for an extra special business resource to free up time for you so that you can then do what you love. Okay, enough from me. Who's on this week's show, Chantel?
Thanks, JT. Welcome back to the show, everyone. As you just heard, our special guest today is Coss Marte from ConBody. Now, rather than our usual strict business focus, I wanted to use today's show to understand the journey that Coss has been on, what led him to create ConBody, what sets their programming apart from other fitness offerings, and how he's created job opportunities for other former inmates who needed a second chance. Also, later on in the show, we talk about how Coss is now taking ConBody online. All of that is coming up in just a few minutes.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Tribe Team Training are the world leaders in getting more members engaged, retained, and paying extra for small group training. This week's flashback show is show 67 with Andrew Simmons, where he gives tips for running a successful weight loss challenge. So if you missed that show, go back and check it out. That is show 67, and you can find it on iTunes or at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Since the launch of his company, ConBody, Coss Marte has been featured in over 90 major media outlets, including NBC, CNN, the New York Times, and Men's Fitness. He's also won major pitch competitions, including Pitch for Good by Tom's Shoes and the YPO Shark Tank competition, which in combined raised $200,000. We start today's interview as Coss tells us about the wake-up call that started his fitness journey. Because now, as I mentioned last week, I do want to talk to you about ConBody. And I actually read, just to sort of set the scene for everyone, that when you were in Green Correctional Facility, that a prison doctor at that time told you that you were going to die of a heart attack within 5 years because of blood pressure and because of cholesterol. I mean, how did that feel to get told that?
I mean, it was a shock. I didn't really believe when they said it. Because I was never really looking at myself as extremely overweight or unhealthy, but for someone that was not really going to the doctor and, hanging out in the streets and just like partying all the time. And then starting to realize that I was like smoking cigarettes and drinking and or living that unhealthy lifestyle and not exercising at all really made me walk. While I was walking back out of that, medical unit and walking back to my cell unit, I was like, I need to start exercising. I need to start moving. I'm not going to die in this place. I was sentenced to 7 years. And when they told me 5 years, I was like, I can't pass away here. And I started that same day, I started trying to do a few exercises, push-ups. I might've worked out for like 5 to 10 minutes and like passed out. But then the next day, I woke up and I went directly to the prison yard and started running laps and then went back to my cell and started working on, just moving.
Wow. And do you feel as though receiving that news and going through that yourself has given you the opportunity to kind of empathize with the clients that you now work with?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I get a lot of people that, tell me like I'm doing amazing work, and they seen a body transformation that they have. I mean, I had one lady, you know, she lost 100 pounds with us within a year. She actually moved to LA, but I seen her transformation when she was working out the first day with us, and then she continuously just came. And then one day I stopped at the front desk at her gym, and I told her, "Damn, like you lost a lot of weight." And she was like, and she began bawling and crying. And I was like, "This was all because of you." Like, I told myself, like, this guy did it in a prison cell. I have no excuse. I have everything I need here. You know, I need to, you know, start utilizing everything I have, and I should appreciate it and start moving. So that made me cry. And I felt, you know, that our work was really being, you know, used and really effective and impacting so many other people.
Absolutely. And Tribe, just in case you missed it earlier, so Coss lost 70 pounds in 6 months. Do you think that you could maybe talk us through what those things were that you did to change your health?
So I stopped eating bread. I stopped drinking the gel juice. I was strictly on like a water diet and like eating protein, any type of protein I could get. You could get peanut butter, so a lot of peanut butter and any type of meat. I was working out a lot. I started working out I built myself to work out about 3 hours a day, where I was like running for about, you know, in 4 months in 3 months I lost 40 pounds. And then the last 3 months I lost 30. But I was just like running the yard for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I'll go back to my cell and work out for about 45 minutes to an hour. Just like all calisthenic work. So that was the routine I was doing.
And what is jail juice? What is that?
I mean, it's like Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say
like
inappropriate things
drink.
about it.
It's like a sugary drink.
Yeah. Any like processed sugar that I was trying to stay away from. It's basically like a paleo diet, but I was eating a little bit of rice.
Yeah.
And keeping my carbs with like vegetables. So in New York State prison, you're allowed to get packages where you could cook like fruits and vegetables, and you could order stuff on magazines, and you could cook in like microwaves and stuff. So and some stovetops.
Okay. So, Coss, let's talk more about the workout itself now for ConBody, the studio that you've opened. So run us through what is in the workout.
So we start off with a high-intensity workout, just like it's like jumping jacks, a cardiovascular workout, jumping jacks, or different jumping jack variations that I come up with. And then we'll do isometric, and every day of the week we work out on different type of body parts. So we have like cardio day, isometric day, leg day, core day, full body day, upper body day. So we change them up throughout the week. So like today was Manic Monday and Tough Love Tuesday and Lockdown Wednesday and, you know, Hardcore Thursday. So, you know, we utilize, I guess the only equipment that we utilize in the studio is the pull-up bar and dips. So same thing we used in prison.
You have some very cool workouts because I follow you on Instagram and there's some pretty intense workouts that you're throwing at your members. Yeah. Do you personally write all of them? Like, do you write all the programs?
No, I don't write all the programs. I first was writing. In the beginning, I wrote out all the programs, and then I had, as I started hiring more trainers and guys, they started giving me more ideas, and they started coming up with their own flavor. So each trainer brings a little different variety, but we usually keep the core concept of utilizing all body weight, and utilizing no equipment.
And I read that you feel as though the mind plays a big role when it comes to working out and getting results. Do you want to explain what you mean by that?
We use that model, it might be a little bit gimmicky, but mind over matter. And I say, like, if it doesn't mind, it doesn't matter. It's basically like if somebody's counting and you're setting your number to, let's say, 50, and you're saying, oh, I'm going to get to 50, you're always going to stop at like 49 and be like, oh, 50, I'm done, But if you just do it without counting and just keep moving, you won't even notice. Mm-hmm. And your mind plays tricks on yourself. So I think, playing with the mind and pushing yourself and just maybe even sometimes escaping and thinking about something else or listening to your favorite soundtrack while you're working out, and just keep moving. You could push your mind and your body to different limits that you probably never push yourself to.
That's a really, really good point, Coss. I'm a big believer that exercise is that form of escaping thinking outside of what it is that you're actually doing is a great way to approach your exercise. So I can understand what you mean there. And I wanted to talk to you a bit about the studio because, many of our tribe may not have actually seen photos of the studio or any video inside the studio. And JT, who you've met before because he came along to do one of your classes, was telling me that the studio you work in is very, very cool. So do you want to just run us through like the size of it, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your average client?
Yeah, so it's a small studio, but we built it out to look like a prison, and everybody comes and takes a mug shot. A lot of people are like, oh, this is so gimmicky and this and that, but I basically made, I didn't do it to be gimmicky. I made it to make a statement. And when I came out of prison, I found a internship where they helped a few formerly incarcerated people at a nonprofit, and some of the employees used to talk a lot of, crap, talk a lot of shit, excuse my language, about, formerly incarcerated people, not knowing that I had a record.
Yep.
And I got frustrated. I said, you know what, I did something wrong, and this is what I did. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to move forward with my life. I'm not going to let anybody stop me. And because what I did, I shouldn't be ashamed or hide it from anybody. So I'm gonna own it, So I just put it in people's faces. This is where we came from. This is what we're doing now, and we want to own the brand.
Yeah, and I might just jump in there, Coss, and say what I love about that is I know that you're saying, people might think it's gimmicky and stuff, but that's your point of difference. As you say, you're owning it. You're going out there. You're promoting it. You're putting on social media, and that set up and the way that you've designed the studio and the mugshot and everything else like that is one of the things that set you apart from every other place out there. So I want to throw it out to our tribe to say, okay, so what is it that you have within your studio that is unique and is setting you apart from every other gym owner out there? So that's a really great example, Coss, of what you guys are doing. So do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about who's the typical client that goes to ConBody?
Yeah, it's usually a young professional woman. Actually, it's like 80% women. A lot of people think it's mostly men, masculine, but it's a lot of women come to our classes because they tell us that, we don't use any equipment. And when they go to classes with equipment, they feel intimidated. So that's why we get a lot of people coming to our classes, and it's young professionals that really want to contribute to a difference. They don't want to go to any regular gym where they saying, like any big box gym that's saying like $5 a month, get special, and just like, I feel like people are tired of being, faced with, all that gimmicky stuff where, save $1 in here and then just pay $25 a month and you're never going to go. So we actually have people come and people utilize our studio. So, we hold people accountable. If they don't show up, they get charged a penalty fee. And I feel like, these people want to make a difference. They see, that we're formerly incarcerated people, that we're trying to make some type of change. and they want to help, they come over there and they ask, like, how can I help? How can I tutor you? I get a lot of guys coming out of jail who's done, 10, 15 years and they don't know how to work an iPhone or an iPad and don't know what the hell Facebook is. So a lot of them start tutoring other guys, so it's like a win-win situation.
That's very cool. Can you tell us more about that penalty fee that you talked about? So if people don't show up, they get charged a fee. How do you work that into the business?
Yeah, so a lot of people like sign up for classes and they're like, oh yeah, I'm coming. And then once we see their names in a list and they don't show up, we charge them a $5 penalty fee.
Wow.
It's the reaction? Small fee.
How does that work? How do they react?
Some people let it build up until they see their bank account and they're like, oh, I just spent like $50. I'm not coming up, so I need to really show up. I mean, a lot of people actually like it.
Yeah, like a motivator. And so is that part of your terms and conditions? Do you say to them up front, if you sign up and you don't show up, you're going to get charged?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're working on that online as well. So for people that are subscribing to our videos, and if they don't watch them at least 3 times a week, we'll charge them $1. So we're working on algorithms where it shows that if a person doesn't click on a workout video, then we'll charge them a penalty fee.
Okay, I definitely want to talk to you more about the online side of your business because that's a big question that I've got. But before we do that, tell me about the traditional business, your bricks and mortar. I mentioned earlier about Instagram. What are your main marketing platforms for ConBody?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, we utilize every social media platform we can to get the word out there. Working on different type of ads and stuff. We don't need run ads. And a lot of it is like word of mouth and just getting out there and just like speaking to people. And we also use, I don't know if they have, a lot of people use ClassPass that helps bring our clients to our space. There's a lot of different programs.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier you've touched on a few of the stories about your trainers. How many trainers do you actually have employed?
So there's 9 trainers now.
9 trainers now. And give us a bit of a broad overview about those trainers.
I think collectively we all have about 100 years in prison. They're humble people. They're just like the most grateful people and want to contribute. And some of them just like work extra hours that, I don't require them to work, but they just want to stick around. They feel like ConBody is a home, away from home. And they go in there and they see something and they want to, pitch in and like bring, if they find something on the street or they find out, something, they always come and like talk to me. I feel like I need an HR department because I can't run it myself.
You might need an HR department soon.
Yeah. We have 16 people on our team.
Wow.
We have 11 of us are formerly incarcerated. We also have formerly incarcerated people working at desk and janitor and all types of stuff. So
it sounds to me, like when you talk about how grateful they are for, for working with ConBody, it sounds to me like you really are genuinely transforming not only your members' lives, but the lives of your team and your employees as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's days that I feel like I want to give up and I'm tired and I get out of that bed and I'm like, I want to just lay back down. But I'm a very spiritual person and I pray and I tell God, give me an hour and I feel like he answers all the time. It could be like a simple text message from a client saying, I can't wait to go back and I had an awesome time. Or it could be one of my employees saying that, thank God for you and give me this opportunity that I could feed my child, my daughter, my son, So, I mean, it's bigger than me, so I can't give up.
It's a huge impact that you're making. Yeah. So I wanted to, couple of things. First of all, am I right in saying that your goal is to open another 5 studios this year?
I wish. No, it's a long stretch goal, but we're actually looking to open up another studio in Midtown Manhattan.
Wow.
We're also licensing, working on a licensing agreement in Pittsburgh. I partnered up with this non-for-profit that helps formerly incarcerated people, and founder there, Daniel Bull, is gonna open up the first Pittsburgh branch. So it's gonna be our home away from New York, and we're working on a lot of other people that want to open up more studios and license it out. We just don't really want to give it out to anybody. We really want to screen and make sure that person is going to be responsible and is going to run the space the way we want it. And we also are going to working on another site in Brooklyn. So probably about 3 locations this year.
That's huge.
That's our goal.
And that in conjunction with the online program. So tell us all about the online program that you're launching.
Yeah, so the online program is called ConBodyLive.com. And for $5 a month, you can work out anywhere. They're just 20-minute workout videos. I've done the first couple videos myself. And we're going to be introducing every month a different formerly incarcerated person. We launched it about 2.5 months ago, and we've got over 4,000 subscribers now.
Wow.
So it's from 20 different countries. So it's really creating an impact and a movement,
Oh, that is phenomenal. So that's the big platform. And then you've got the app coming out as well.
Yep. Yeah. So once we perfect the site, we have somebody lined up that's going to be building the app with us. So we're working on right now the site is basically a paywall, and you get a free trial, a free first month, and then afterwards you'll get $5 a month recurring payment. But after that, so that's what we're working on to really take this to the next level and create a movement.
So let me ask you this, your intention when you originally came up with the concept of the online, because I know that many studio owners that have a bricks and mortar facility have the idea and they want to launch online. How did you make it go from a concept that you thought of to reality?
I guess money.
Did you hire a team externally? Did you hire an external team to help you with the build?
Well, yeah, help us with the build. We hired an external team, but I partnered up with somebody else. One of our clients was actually the one that partnered up with me, and she came up with the idea of doing ConBody Live because she was moving around, traveling to Ireland and back, and she was like, I really can't make it to the studio anymore. I'm sorry, I have to, stop paying, whatever. But I really want to do the workout. So I was like, well, let's do a, FaceTime or Skype video call. And she was like, oh, let's strategize on doing, a site where we could do videos and have a paywall and stuff like that. And we was going to come up with a 6-month strategy. And then I told her that BuzzFeed was coming out in about 2 months. And we had to move quickly because we were going to get about 10 million views online. And I didn't want to miss out that opportunity. So we quickly just made it happen.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And can I ask, how did you come up with the price point of $5 per month?
So we're probably going to raise that to $9. That's what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people say that $7 is what really sells, is a great number on the internet. And the brick and mortar spots, everything is $9.99 or whatever. That's the magic number. But online is a $7. Mm-hmm. $5, I felt like it was really affordable and fair for the people that really can't, pay as much. And I wanted to be accessible for everybody. Everybody, I feel like everybody could afford.
Absolutely.
$5 a month.
Yeah, low cost, high numbers. So, and as you've already proven with 4,000 subscribers. So that is incredibly exciting. So what we will do, because if any of our tribe want to check out your website or your online program, where do they need to head to do that?
So if you want to subscribe for ConBodyLive.com, that's CON, like Con, BODY, body, live, LIVE.com. If you want to check us out on Instagram, we're ConBody, CONBODY. Hit like our page on Facebook. And if you want to contact us, it's info@ConBody.com.
That's awesome. Okay, Coss, I have one final question for you, and we like to ask our guests to leave us with a little bit of fit inspiration, and that's some inspiration for our tribe with your top 3 tips for when you are doing things tough in business or in life. And you mentioned this one earlier. How do you pick yourself up and keep going? Tribe, before we hear those final takeaways from Coss, let's first hear from one of our wonderful sponsors, ABC Financial. Let the industry leader in club management software and payment processing help you run your business more effectively and efficiently. Request a demo at www.abcfinancial.com. Now let's go back to hear some final words from Coss.
I mean, for myself, I pray and I try to take away the time to meditate and relax the mind. And it doesn't even have to be like me going into a room alone and bowing down or anything. It could be, relaxing the mind, just like getting away from work and just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. It's something that really doesn't, have anything to do with work, and just like, separate yourself from that mindset. I say running is one big thing for me where I could, just get out there and move and just think and collect all my thoughts and think about what I need to do for the day, or, just get moving. I feel like when I'm starting to run, I start thinking about other stuff and I don't really think about like the actual workout. So I love running. And tip, I mean, I guess eat healthy. I like to, keep as much as a paleo diet as possible. I indulge in beers and all that stuff, but I try to keep it to a limit and just be moderate with everything.
Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
Coss, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing your story. You really are changing lives. As I said, it's a real inspiration to see what you're doing with your members, but also what you're doing with your staff and the leadership role that you've taken on in developing ConBody. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Fitness Business Podcast to share your story.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
What I encourage you to take away from this week's show is to consider the clear point of difference that Coss has created with ConBody, how he's used his personal experiences to sculpt and to build his business, and also how he's found a way to help clients, but also to create job opportunities that may have not otherwise existed.
Pre-Core Quickfire 5.
Rick Mayo is the founder and CEO of Alloy Personal Training Center, Alloy Personal Training Solutions, and Alloy for Women. And our second guest today is Mike Gelfgott, who, along with his business partner John Spence, operates not 1, not 2, but 23 Anytime Fitness locations in the USA. Guys, are you ready for your Pre-Core Quickfire 5 questions?
Yes.
Excellent. Rick, I'm going to start off with you. Tell us, why do you do what you do?
I've actually never done anything else. So I opened my club in 1992 when I was in college, and I know nothing else but fitness. So, to be honest, I can't imagine doing anything else.
That's a pretty good reason. And what's the best advice that you've ever received?
Yeah, I think, obviously lots of good advice over 25 years in business, but the best advice ever was probably just to continue learning, right? To never become stagnant. And that does obviously help to stay relevant over a long period of time.
And what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
Each morning, grab an index card when things are quiet and it's uninterrupted, and list 5 things that I'm going to accomplish each day before I start the madness of phone calls, emails, and whatnot. So 5 purposeful things that will move either my business or my personal life forward.
I love that. Is that a daily habit?
It is. And I tell you, it's been in my life for 20 years. And if I've ever gone away from it, I've noticed an immediate negative reaction, if you will. So it's just one of those habits where if I keep it in my life, everything seems to get better.
I love that one. Tell us, what's one book that you'd recommend and why?
Yeah, I think my favorite business book is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And the reason is it really speaks to taking something artistic, like I think in the book he uses baking, right? And I would equate that maybe to training, and how and why you should make something like that into a system, right? And how every business should run on a system. And I think that's really key. I think that's a really strong message for our industry.
I think that's a great recommendation. It's one of the favorites of the Fitness Business Podcast. And tell us, why should the tribe come back next week and listen to the main interview?
I mean, one reason only, and that's Mike Gelfgott.
That's a great reason. Hey,
no,
Mike.
Listen, I do think, I've spoken, in Australia and Poland and all over the world, and I know Mike has done the same. So, listen, if you want to understand not only what's going on in your local market, but maybe what the best practices are worldwide, I guess I will toot our own horn and say you've probably got the 2 best candidates on the line, for that conversation. So I'm really excited to share what we know.
And Mike, I feel as though you need to repay the favor when you answer that question in just a second. Okay, Rick, thank you so much for those quick 5 answers. We're going to flip over now to Mike. Let's run through yours. Tell us, why do you do what you do?
Chantel, I wasn't born in the U.S. I was actually born in Russia. So I have a very immigrant, I guess, sort of an answer, but it's totally true and it totally speaks to my heart. I have an opportunity to provide for my daughter and create a future for her that I never per se had growing up. That's one of the main things that really drives me. And the other one is we have some really wonderful people that have chosen to come to work with us on a regular basis and have been with us for a long, long time. And one of the things that really drives me is to create a career opportunity in the fitness industry for our wonderful staff.
Tribe, Mike has a really amazing story about his journey into the fitness industry, which I'm actually going to attach in the show notes this week, Mike, if that's okay with you, because I'd love for everyone to know exactly, where you have come from and the work that you've done to get to where you are today. So Tribe, please make sure that you jump over to the show notes and check that out. I'll put it in this week's show and in next week's show. Mike, tell us, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
I'm much like Rick. So many, right? But I would think the one that's really resonates with me now and has been really resonating as our company has continued to grow is listen to understand versus listen to respond. Every day my job is to coach other trainers to help our clients get to a healthier place. And I need to be a better listener than a better talker, I guess. That'll be one. And the other thing is I read a really interesting book by Warren Berger. It's called A More Beautiful Question. And one of the things he talks about is it's not a matter of knowing the answer. So the best advice that I've ever received was actually from that book is questions yield to solutions. So knowing the question is the toughest part, not necessarily knowing the answer.
Both of those are really great pieces of advice. Thank you so much for sharing those. Tell us, what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
This relentless, tireless pursuit of getting better. It actually gives me joy. I get energy from learning and hustling. Something Mark Cuban said, he says this as a quote, and he frequently, I see it on Facebook, is that somebody out there is working harder than you. So to me, I always, every time I see that, I speak to Mark and I say, Mark, who is that individual? Show me who he is. I'd like to talk to him.
And tell us, what's one book that you'd recommend and why?
Creating Lasting Change by Tony Robbins is by far my favorite book. And I would say simply because every day, no matter where you are, you're always influencing people. Your job is to always create a change, whether it's with a client or whether it's with a staff member. And that book really does a really good job at detailing step-by-step process on how to create a lasting change.
And Mike, why should the tribe come back next week? You know the answer, and listen to the main show.
Well, listen, it's an honor. It's an honor to be on the show, and I appreciate you inviting me. It's an honor to be with Rick, particularly on the show, because Rick, if you come back and you hear the show, you will have an opportunity to hear from one of the best studio operators and arguably running the most profitable per square foot studio in the United States, and that's Rick Mayo. So that's why. I mean, whatever Rick says, I do. I don't even question the guy.
I love it. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today for the Pre-Call Quick Fire 5, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business. Hey Tribe, as you know, we like to keep you up to date with all the big events that are happening in the fitness industry as they happen. And today I'm joined by Ryan Hogan, the CEO of Australian Fitness Network. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
I should be saying welcome back to the show. I think you've made a couple of appearances so far with us. And this year you're going to be talking about Filex 2017. So what are the dates of Filex this year?
Well, Filex 2017, hopefully one of our biggest and one of the Australian fitness industry's biggest events yet. It will be held from the 28th to the 30th of April at the brand spanking new International Convention Centre at Darling Harbour in Sydney, which replaces the old Sydney Convention Centre. So it's a pretty exciting year. Brand new venue, brand new location. Kind of our spiritual home, at least for Filex, because it was in Sydney for so many years. So yeah, we're super excited. It's going to be a big year.
I've got to tell you, I'm personally excited to have it back in Sydney as well and to be checking out that beautiful new venue. So tell us, who should be attending the event?
Well, look, Filex is an unusual event on the global fitness industry calendar in that it caters for a real cross range of industry professionals. So, we've got all kinds of stuff for business owners, club managers, people who work in marketing, people who work in sales. If you're working on any of the business side of fitness, then Filex in Australia is definitely your spot. But we also have a huge range of sessions for personal trainers and group trainers. So if that's your thing, or if you might cross over between the two, as more and more people do these days, then that's there for you as well. So really, look, to be honest, if you have anything to do with the fitness industry, if you're a fitness industry professional, whether it's full-time, part-time, casual, there'll be something at Filex for you.
Definitely. And do you reckon you can give us a little bit of a sneak peek and tell us about some of your big presenters that are going to be there this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're that's kind of the big deal about Filex, isn't it? Is you come to Filex to rub shoulders and network and connect with some of the world's best. From the business side of things, we have quite a few presenters that have been on your podcast before that your listeners might remember. One, Bill McBride from, I believe his company's Active Wellness or Active Fitness or something like that, out of the US. And he's coming out to do some great stuff around club management and business. We have Luke Carlson coming back from Discover Strength in Minnesota. We had him for the first time at Filex last year in Melbourne, and the feedback was unbelievable. Everyone said to us, you must have him back. You must have him back. And he really specializes on the leadership space and on the strategic management and all that sort of stuff. He's a great speaker. I couldn't speak highly enough of him. We're very, very lucky to have a woman by the name of Michelle Segar, who actually wrote this amazing book on the psychology of fitness and around what it is that makes people buy fitness. And, this is we're in a kind of really lucky, unusual space to have her at Filex, because she's the sort of speaker that doesn't often do these kind of conferences. So we're lucky in that way. She'll be doing a session at the Business Summit. In addition, our keynote speaker this year is someone I'm super excited about. Her name's Lisa McInnes-Smith. And she was actually voted a couple of times Australian Speaker of the Year by the Speakers Bureau, and also is one of the few Australian speakers to be voted into the International Hall of Fame of Speakers. She won Speaker of the Year in the US, which is unusual for someone from outside the US, even though she's Australian based in Melbourne. So she's going to just knock the socks off the brand new auditorium. So yeah, heaps of stuff from the trainer end of things. Thomas Myers, who wrote, Anatomy Trains, basically was the guy who first started talking about fascia. We got the glute guy, Brett Contreras. I mean, you name it, you'll find it at Silex.
Wow. Well, all I can say about that, Ryan, is that you have exceptional taste, because both Bill McBride and Michelle Seeger are former guests on the show, and Luke Carlson will be a guest coming up on the Fitness Business Podcast very, very soon. So I can testify that you've got some absolutely sensational speakers going along to Filex this year. Now, that's a great little snapshot of the international speakers. Tell us about some of the local ones.
Oh, gosh. Well, Australia is globally known for having a really, really strong and solid fitness industry. And so we're lucky enough to have a massive suite of great speakers that have been, a lot of them that have been presenting or working at Filex for so long. I mean, you have people like Steve Jensen and, of course, your own Justin Tamzett, or, all kinds of great names. Paul Wright is making a return to Filex after many, many years of not being there. We've got Amanda Brax, and a whole lot of new speakers, because we every year we get inundated by hundreds of quality applications. And by the way, they get better every year. And it almost becomes a bit of a challenge in itself to filter them down into one program. But yeah, look, the Australia is very well represented, and in fact has some of the top speakers globally. And we've got them here on our show, so you can look forward to seeing them at Filex too.
Onto the logistics side of things, what do we need to do to register?
Well, it's pretty straightforward these days. Filex.com.au is where you'll find out all the information on the program and the different packages that we have to offer. There's more packages, different ways that you can attend than there ever have been. You can come for 1 day, you can come for 3 days, you can come for 4 days. There's plenty of different options there to suit budgets and different timeframes. We've also we've got payment plans available, which helps with people with a little bit of tight cash flow. So if that's an option for you, the sooner you register, the lesser your installments will be. One date worth noting is the 8th of March. Now, the 8th of March is when our early bird rates finish. So that's about, I think it's about 6 weeks out from the event. So you definitely want to make sure you get your ticket by then. You get to save money, but also, all importantly, make sure you get in the sessions that you want, because those start to book out. And we've already started our pre-registration, and the numbers are just going crazy. I think there's a lot of expectation around this move home or this move back to Sydney. So we expect Filex 2017 to be kind of one of the biggest and most well-attended that we've had in a long time. And so if you're planning on coming, all I will say is, well, first of all, come. Second of all, get your ticket, get your registration in as soon as possible, because I just have this feeling that it is going to sell out.
That's exciting. And I might also mention, for any of you that are coming from overseas, there are accommodation recommendations on the Filex website as well. So make sure you check those out, and once again, book in early. Hey, Ryan, thank you so much for coming along and telling us about Filex 2017, and good luck for a huge year this year.
Thank you. And thanks for your support. And we look forward to seeing you and, of course, all your listeners on site in April.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Hi, I'm Susan Fowler, and I was a Fitness Business Podcast guest. You've been listening to another outstanding guest, and if you know someone who could benefit from listening to this show, please let them know by email, Facebook, or Twitter. Just check this week's show notes. And if you really want some tips, I hope you'll listen to my show, as I give you practical, pragmatic takeaways, but based on pure evidence and science, on developing a world-class culture in your business. Just go to www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, and in the search bar, type my name, Susan Fowler, and my show will pop up. That's this week's show, and Chantal will be back next week with another guest.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded, and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au, only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget, all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.